I bet you didn't know that some of the fish you've been told are healthy, the ones you may have been eating for years to support your heart, your joints, maybe even your memory, could actually be doing more harm than good. And I'm not just talking about a little indigestion or a mild side effect. I'm talking about things that can silently chip away at your health as you age. Memory loss, chronic inflammation, sluggishness, and an increased risk of heart issues. Yes, from something as simple as what's on your dinner plate. You see, there are certain types of fish, ones that look good on a menu and are often sold as premium or heart-healthy, that can actually carry dangerously high levels of mercury and other toxins. And here's the kicker. These risks increase dramatically as we get older. Your body isn't processing things the same way it did when you were 30 or 40. Toxins build up faster. Your brain becomes more sensitive. Your joints and heart? They start to feel every little thing you eat. And yet, no one's talking about this. Not your doctor. Not the media. Not even most health gurus. Millions of older adults are eating these fish regularly, some even daily, thinking they're making a smart, healthy choice. But behind the scenes, damage is building up. Quietly, slowly, and by the time the symptoms show up, the forgetfulness, the joint stiffness, the fatigue, it's easy to blame just getting older. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? What if I told you there are seniors, people in their late 70s, even their 80s, who are sharper, more mobile, and more full of life than they were 30 years ago? And they're not doing anything extreme. They're just avoiding a few key mistakes, and yes, one of the biggest ones? The type of fish they eat. It's not about cutting out seafood completely. Not at all. Fish can be one of the best foods for your brain, your heart, your energy, if you choose the right ones. But here's the problem. More than 90% of older adults have never been told this. Not by their doctors. Not by their nutritionist. And sadly, many of the biggest health recommendations out there, they're based on outdated advice that ignores what really happens in the aging body. But today, we're going to set the record straight. We're going to look at 4 specific fish that older adults should not be eating at all, and more importantly, I'll explain why. The science, the risks, and the better options you can start enjoying instead. Because when you know what to avoid, you can take back control of your body, your memory, and your independence. Let's dive in. All right, let's get into it, starting with fish number 1. King mackerel. Now, I know what you might be thinking, mackerel? Isn't that supposed to be healthy? And that's part of the problem. Not all mackerel are created equal. King mackerel is one of the most toxic fish you can put on your plate, especially if you're over 60. Why? Because it contains alarmingly high levels of mercury, a heavy metal that doesn't just pass through your body, it builds up. And here's the danger most people don't realize. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at detoxifying. So what your liver could handle when you were 30, it may struggle with now. That mercury? It sticks around, and over time, it can affect your brain, your nervous system, even your heart. The FDA has actually put king mackerel on its do not eat list for both pregnant women and older adults, but hardly anyone sees that list unless they go looking for it. You might have seen king mackerel at the fish counter or even ordered it at a nice seafood restaurant, thinking you're doing something good for your health. But every bite could be contributing to brain fog, fatigue, and even long-term memory issues. Now here's where it gets really confusing. Many people mistake king mackerel for Spanish mackerel. They're completely different fish. Spanish mackerel is much lower in mercury and can actually be a healthy part of your diet. But king mackerel? It's a hard no. So what should you eat instead? Wild-caught salmon. It's packed with the same heart-healthy omega-3 fats, but without the mercury danger. It also has natural antioxidants like astaxanthin, great for your joints, your vision, and even your skin. When you're shopping, look for labels that say, wild-caught Alaskan. That's one of the cleanest sources you can find. So here's the takeaway. If you've been eating king mackerel, especially regularly, it's time to stop. Your brain and your body will thank you. And remember, It's not about fear. It's about being informed, making one smart choice at a time, and staying strong as you age. Now, let's talk about another one that might slip under the radar: tilefish. Especially those caught from the Gulf of Mexico. At first glance, tilefish might not even sound familiar to you. You might have seen it listed under a fancy name at a restaurant. Or maybe it showed up in a seafood medley or at your local market without much labeling. But here's what you need to know, and it's serious. Tilefish ranks among the highest mercury-containing fish ever tested. Yes, even more than tuna in some cases. And the kind caught in the Gulf of Mexico is by far the worst offender. The Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, lists tilefish as one of the top fish to avoid. Not just limit, avoid completely. And still, people eat it. Not because they're reckless, but because they just don't know. You're probably thinking, well, if it's sold at the store, surely it must be safe. But I'm here to tell you, that's a dangerous assumption. The truth is, not all seafood at the store is regulated the way we think. Labels can be vague. Origins aren't always listed clearly, and very few clerks behind the counter are going to tell you, hey, by the way, this one might be loaded with mercury. That's why it's so important, especially at our age, to not rely on appearances. We have to be proactive. We have to be informed. Now, you might be asking, if I have to stay away from tilefish, what can I eat instead? Here's a powerful alternative that almost no one talks about: sardines. I know, sardines aren't exactly the flashiest fish at the table. But when it comes to nutrition for older adults, they're an absolute powerhouse. They're very low in mercury because they're small and low on the food chain, meaning they don't have time to accumulate toxins. And they're loaded with omega-3s, vitamin D, and calcium, which is crucial for bone health, heart health, and even mood stability. Plus, they're soft-boned, so when you eat them whole, bones and all, you're actually getting a natural source of calcium that your body can absorb easily. That's a game changer, especially if you're trying to avoid bone thinning, fractures, or joint pain. So, next time you're in the store, skip over the tilefish. If the origin says Gulf of Mexico, walk right past it. Instead, pick up a few cans of wild-caught sardines packed in olive oil. Not only will they nourish your body, they'll save you from unknowingly damaging your brain and bones. Every small change you make now can protect your health for years to come. And that's what we're here for, building a stronger, smarter version of you with each and every bite. Now, let's move to something that might sound exotic, even gourmet, but can be surprisingly dangerous for older adults. Shark. Now, I know most people don't eat shark every day. It's not something you usually see in your neighborhood grocery store. But here's where it gets tricky. Shark meat often shows up under different names on restaurant menus. And in certain high-end or international cuisines, it's seen as a delicacy. That's exactly why it ends up on the plates of well-meaning people who are just trying something new or treating themselves to something special. But here's the problem. Sharks are apex predators, meaning they're at the very top of the ocean's food chain. And what does that mean for you? It means that by the time a shark reaches your plate, it's spent years eating smaller fish that have already eaten other contaminated fish, and all of that mercury, plastic residue, and toxin buildup stays right there in the shark's body. And when you eat that meat, you inherit all of it. Now, if you were in your 20s with a strong liver and sharp detox system, your body might be able to handle a little bit of that. But as we age, and this is important, our natural detox pathways slow down. The kidneys work a little harder. The nervous system becomes more vulnerable. And that mercury and those toxins, they don't just pass through. They settle. They can impact your nerves, making you feel off balance. They can put strain on your kidneys, making fatigue worse. And they can mess with your coordination, which increases the risk of slips, stumbles, and falls, something no one wants to deal with later in life. Let me put it plainly. Shark isn't worth the risk. Not at our age. You might hear someone say, oh, but it was just once at a restaurant. But think about it, it only takes a few meals with heavy mercury to tip your body into a place where symptoms start showing. And those symptoms, forgetfulness, shaky hands, unsteady legs, they're often blamed on just getting older, when in reality, it might be what's on your plate. So here's some simple advice. If you're eating out, especially at a seafood place or somewhere international, be careful with exotic fish. If you don't recognize the name, ask questions. If it sounds fancy, rare, or unfamiliar, assume it could be high in toxins unless you've checked the source. Your health is worth a few extra minutes of asking. And if you're looking for something satisfying, clean, and delicious that still feels like a treat, try grilled trout or even black cod. They're flavorful, rich in healthy fats, and much lower in mercury. You'll still enjoy that gourmet feeling without putting your nervous system at risk. Because remember, it's not just about avoiding bad choices. It's about protecting the sharp, balanced, and steady version of yourself that deserves to thrive well into your golden years. And now we've come to number 4, and this one might surprise you the most. Swordfish. It looks elegant. It sounds noble. You might see it grilled to perfection on a restaurant menu, served with lemon and herbs, and think to yourself, that's a clean, lean protein. That's probably good for me. But the truth is, it's one of the most dangerous choices for older adults. Swordfish is frequently placed on the do not eat list by both the FDA and EPA, not just for pregnant women, but for seniors specifically. And the reason is simple, but alarming. Just one serving of swordfish can contain more mercury than your body should have in an entire week. One serving. That's it. That grilled swordfish steak you might have once a month thinking you're treating your body kindly could quietly be setting you back. Here's what makes swordfish so risky. It's a large, long-living predator, which means, like shark and king mackerel, it's been swimming around for years, collecting all the mercury and toxins from everything it eats. And just like a sponge soaking up dirty water, that swordfish has soaked up more than you want near your brain, your heart, or your bones. Mercury is sneaky. It doesn't hit you all at once. You might just feel a little more tired. You might forget names a little more often. You might notice your balance is a bit off when you get up from your chair. And we tell ourselves, well, that's just aging. But it might not be. It might be mercury, slowly interrupting the way your nerves talk to your muscles, the way your brain holds onto memories, or the way your heart maintains rhythm. And swordfish is one of the biggest culprits hiding in plain sight. So what can you do instead? If you enjoy a firm, meaty fish, something satisfying and flavorful, try cod or haddock. They're much leaner, much cleaner, and still give you that same hearty texture on the plate. And here's the bonus. They're high in protein, low in mercury, and gentle on the digestive system. Which is exactly what we want as we age. Food that fuels us, not food that slows us down. Whether you're cooking at home or eating out, cod and haddock are widely available, easy to prepare, and much safer for your brain, your heart, and your energy. So here's the bottom line on swordfish. It might look like a healthy choice, but for seniors, it's a gamble you just don't need to take. There are better, safer options. Ones that don't just keep you alive, but help you stay clear, strong, and independent. And that's the goal, right? To feel like ourselves. To move with confidence, to remember what matters, and to enjoy every single year with clarity and vitality. So, if you're serious about protecting your brain, if you want to ease those aching joints, and if you're determined to stay sharp, steady, and strong as the years go on, here's where it starts. Avoid these 4 fish: king mackerel, tilefish, shark, swordfish. They may look innocent on the plate, but they come with hidden dangers that can slowly steal your energy, your balance, even your memory. Just one small change, one smarter choice at the seafood counter or restaurant can lead to a big difference in how you feel every single day. Whether it's waking up with a clearer mind, standing up without wobbling, or walking farther without feeling drained, that kind of change begins with what you put on your fork. Because your body may be older, but your choices still have power. And the more informed those choices are, the better chance you have at living fully, not just longer. So remember, it's not about giving up seafood. It's about choosing fish that nourish, not deplete. You deserve that kind of vitality. You've earned it. Now let's protect it, one smart bite at a time. Now, let me ask you something. Which of these fish surprised you the most? Was there one you've been eating for years, thinking it was helping you, only to find out today that it might be doing more harm than good? You're not alone. So many older adults, just like you, have made those same choices, not because they were careless, but because no one ever told them the truth. Not their doctor, not the grocery store, not even the nutrition labels. That's why this conversation matters. So I want to hear from you. Take a moment and share in the comments. Where are you watching from today? Have you made any changes in your diet recently that helped with your energy, your memory, or even your joint pain? You never know who your story might inspire. And if you found value in this video, if it opened your eyes, or even made you a little curious to learn more, then this is just the beginning. Because here at Thriving Age Tip, we believe aging doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter, living with intention, and making choices that support the strongest, clearest, healthiest version of you. We're here to bring you simple, powerful health insights that make a real difference. Not just for how long you live, but for how well you live. So, if that's what you want, if you're ready to feel better, think clearer, and stay active, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell, too, so you don't miss the next tip. Because aging well isn't about luck. It's about learning what works and putting it into practice, one choice at a time. You've still got so much life ahead of you. Let's make every year one that feels strong, steady, and full of joy together. This is Thriving Age Tip, and your healthiest chapter is just getting started.